Our guest in studio is joining us. Suzanne Hawkins is a member of the Twin Falls City Council. We were just chatting. It seems that when she comes in, that the train schedules are changed just to sort of give her day what you might call a difficult start. You hit another train today.
I did. Second time with those trains. It teaches me I should leave a little bit earlier so I'm not always procrastinating to the last minute.
We have a lot to talk about while you're in studio with us. It's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, 77. Going to be a hot day by the looks of things. You're listening to Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com with Bill Colley, of course. Right off the top, we've been talking with members of the council now for weeks about budget planning. And of course, I think there's always some disappointment that so few people actually come forward and have any input. They're obviously the people who are there every year for reasons that are important to them. But overall, you keep the door open for a long time on allowing people to have a say in all of this.
Yes, we try to get as much input as we can. Monday night, just this last Monday night, we set our maximum spending budget for this year, which is almost $61 million, not quite there. And we've had really zero public comments. We had one citizen this week that just thanked us for taking the time to do the job,
Mhm.
but really no input on what people would like to see and how they would want their money spent for the most part.
There's still an opportunity, though, for people to be heard, right?
There is. On Monday night, August 24th, is the night we actually have our public hearing and finalize the budget adoption, and there will be lots of time for comment that night. We can still change things in the budget, but we cannot spend more than what we've agreed to spend at this point in time.
I was going to say it's sort of that final opportunity. But here's the thing: people will not mention anything until after it's all done, and then you hear, "Why are we doing this?" or "Why are we spending money here?" And meetings are online too, as well, so they can tune in and they can actually see what's going on.
That is correct, and we publish all of our email addresses, phone numbers. The city's always open for comments. We try really hard to
Mhm.
communicate. I use my Facebook page to try to get information, and I guess we're just under the impression that things must be okay and people are happy with the way things are going because we're not hearing anything to the negative.
A lot of that spending that happens every year is a street rehab, and of course, we're seeing a lot of that, especially in the downtown area right now. And it seems that you take a street one day and then you move on to another street. And for some people, I'm sure it's a bit of confusion though, because if they haven't been following a schedule, there are posted schedules though.
That is correct. We have a zone maintenance program where we try to concentrate the majority of our work in one area of the city every year, and the city's broken up into 8 zones so
Hmm.
that it's a rotation. But there's always things that have to be done right now. Like today on my way out here, they're working on Blue Lakes, those wonderful patches that needed to be repaired. There's work going on Pole Line. There's work going down towards the canyon on the Canyon Springs Road because we're working on the wastewater treatment lines in that area. So there's a lot of projects going on right now.
I think sometimes too they come across things that they. I just noticed the other day at 10th that they were doing some work there. They're rehabbing the streets in the area, and then I went by yesterday, and there's a ditch now in front of one of the homes, and I just thought, I wonder if they came across something they didn't know happened to be there while they were getting ready to do the main paving.
That's possible. Sometimes the street department will go in and start working on a project, and that will show a problem in a water line or a sewer line. And that's the great thing about how the city of Twin Falls works as a team. They can call in
Mhm.
the right people to take care of that so we don't have to tear the road up twice.
You've got another event on a happier note coming up Friday.
We do. The 124th Fighter Wing is going to dedicate two A-10C Thunderbolt aircraft to the city of Twin Falls and Jerome. The celebration is at Magic Valley Regional Airport Friday morning at 11:30, and the entire public is invited to come celebrate with us.
This is going to be on display.
Yes, it is. Yes, it will have something unique to Twin Falls on our aircraft. I'm not sure exactly what it is. That's what the unveiling's going to be. It's to really thank the community for supporting the military.
We already have I know there's a tank out there, and we already have some aircraft, so this will be additional to all of that.
It is. This is a special honor, and they're not doing them for all communities, just communities that have stepped up and really shown that they support the military.
And the question is, of course, the airport, space wise. it gets a little crowded with all of these additional planes that are there early as monuments. The airport itself, I've got to believe, is probably going to be itself within another decade going through some sort of expansion.
Along that line, first of all, tonight we have another city fair downtown in the old Banner Street building, the soon to be new City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things on display is the remodel of our airport and what's happening out there. We are looking at expanding in different areas. We do have room for the displays out there. We're looking at extra room for runoff and growth. Really working hard to hopefully get other amenities out there like natural gas, things that will help the development around our airport.
And I was going to say, it just simply because of the population growth, that airport gets busier and busier and busier.
It does, and we like it.
Yes, it's good for the local economy.
It is. It's good. We're working hard to get more flights. Hopefully, other carriers, would really like to see our airport expand, and it's baby steps. You have to really work it.
Now, you've got a couple of other things, too, that you wanted to mention as well.
Yeah, real quick, I'd like to just make sure everyone knows that we did get the sign and the dedication finished at Dennis Boyer's Park downtown on, I believe it's 4th Avenue. Really nice, and if you get a chance to drive by and check that out, I recommend you do. We also have tonight the City Fair, like I said, at the old Banner Street building. I hear that our new fire truck might be on display out there tonight, which is kind of neat. There's competition between city departments to see who can come up with the best display for their departments tonight. There'll be information on the comprehensive plan upgrade, the city hall and the police security center upgrades, the airport. Also, there'll be information out there for job opportunities with the city. So if you're looking for new employment, there might be a great home for you with the city.
Do you think that any of that controversy that came up when you selected the new city hall, that's pretty well died down, or had that been really just ginned up? Because I've rarely heard it. I'd heard about it when I came here, but I've rarely heard any complaints about it once I got here.
I think that, like with everything, everybody has an opinion on how they would like to see things happen, and we did our best to get the majority's approval of where we were going and what we were doing, and we did that. We had a whole citizens committee who worked through the process with us. I think once the decision was made, people accept it. Just like on city council, an issue might come up that you have a split vote on, but at the end of the night, you all go home and you've done your best, and you take what the decisions are and work with them and go from there.
Sometimes, though, I think that controversy is started for controversy's sake, and it gets in the way of a project, which was obviously, because of the growth in this community, it was a needed project at some point.
Maybe, but I think the discussion's always good. We want to make sure we're not overlooking anything, so I would never discourage anyone, whatever the controversy might be, to bring it before us so we at least have a chance to vet it.
9:15, Suzanne Hawkins is joining us from the Twin Falls City Council. It is 76, and you're listening to Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. If you have a question for the council member, give us a telephone call, 736-0300. She's with us for a few more minutes. One question I pitched to the mayor when he was here a couple of weeks ago, and I know it was a topic yesterday when Senator Crapo had a town hall meeting in Filer. Are you getting a lot of reaction from constituents about the refugee resettlement program at the city level?
I wouldn't say a lot, but Monday night we had 2 different groups that did come and address us.
Well, that was the first time then, right?
That is the first time, but what I appreciated is they brought information with them that we can take now and read and study. I think it's good for us to all be educated and understand the issues in our community. We really don't have any line item authority over that program, but as community leaders, we need to be aware and hopefully help work to a solution and maybe find a common middle ground and find answers instead of just fighting over the issues would be my goal.
People compromise of some sorts.
Correct.
I know that, though, in city government, and I've known from observing government for 30 years in the broadcasting business, when you're a local member of the city government, things, what do they say, slop rolls downhill. And it comes down from Washington, then from Boise, and then from all these different levels. And in many respects, you can hear people out, but there's not, it appears, a whole lot that the city council can actually do with any of this.
That is correct. It is not in our realm of control in any way, shape, or form. But again, I think we do need to be educated and understand what's happening. As a council, we are 7 individuals, but we, as one voice, we cannot do anything unless 4 of us agree on it. So even if some council members wanted to look, at options, there has to be a majority of the council to proceed. But as council members, we're still citizens and we still have a local voice as citizens, but to come from the council as a group decision, you probably won't see that happen.
I know Senator Crapo told his crowd yesterday that he'd be willing to consider some sort of moratorium so we could figure out everything about the program and the like.
Right.
And does that appeal to I think you and maybe some of your colleagues?
Personally, yes, I think that we need to take a step back and look and see what's happening and get questions answered before we keep proceeding. I think there has to be some kind of a solution out there. I don't think we want to become a community that isn't known for taking care of those in need. But at the same time, I think there is a definite responsibility to make sure that we are safe and that our community is secure. As a council person, I'm responsible for the safety of my police officers. And so if we're bringing people into our community that can harm them or make their lives, put them in danger, that is a responsibility of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's different ways that I think each council member looks at it, but as a community at whole, I don't know if a moratorium or if we just need to take a step back and look at what other options are available. I really don't know what our options are at this point because we're not getting any answers.
And I don't think people are really, and I think sometimes they get painted as being nativist, but I don't think they're really opposed to immigration because, for instance, I admit I like to eat, and I got about 40 choices when it comes to Mexican or Central American restaurants in the area, which I wouldn't have if it wasn't for that. And I meet a lot of good, hardworking people, and they're very supportive at our church and the like. So obviously, no one is saying, let's just throw up a door because this community is going to grow one way or another.
Correct. I think there are a few people who would like to see it totally shut down. But again, I don't know that that's the right answer. I think there's people that our community can help. I think maybe we need to make sure that the people coming here are wanting to assimilate and become part of our community and not isolated. And I think there's ways we can probably do that. I think we need to get all the players to the table to talk together would be, we need to start somewhere.
Stop shouting and sit down and
have some level-headed conversations about what is real, what is possible, and what we can do.
I want to thank you for coming by today. Did we leave anything out? We've got about 30 seconds.
Real quick, I just want to remind parents or high school students, Youth Council starts up again September 14th at 4 o'clock. We meet at City Hall. It's a great way to get involved in your community and have your voice heard, and would love all youth are welcome.
And there's no height requirement, although one of those young men, he's about
6'5".
He's a skyscraper.
Yes, he is.
I want to thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much for having me.
We've got a short break coming up. Hey, I want to mention a couple of things about the economy in the remainder of the program, as well as our usual Donald Trump portion of the show. We'll try to keep that to a minimum, though, today. That's on the way.